Good evening. Um, this is going to be nice and short and sweet, as they say, because I just want to suffer in silence. You all saw the set today at the Hill, at Rosehill. We had the 8 races, 6 Averys got home, a runner back from after opening up a 14 to 1 chance got out to 20 to 1, back into about its opening quote 14 to 1. And the other race was won by the second pick. The Avery ran second. It was a strip out for the captains. Now, before we get to today, Rosehill, I'm going to say a few words about a few meetings. And anybody who takes any notice of me must be a walking, talking. We go to Gosford on the 29th. The track was good. The rail was normal. And it was an advantage. It was an advantage to lead on the fence. Save ground on the fence was the place to be. Fair dinkum. It drove me mad there at the 2 days at Gosford. The cameraman there, when they hit the line, I pulled a few cameramen aside here and there at different tracks at the country got Wyong and other meetings. When they hit the line, of course, you get the camera. You've got to keep the camera after following them down the straight. You keep them when they hit the winner hits the when they hit the line. You keep the camera on till the last horse goes past the post. Well, it was a funny. I nearly won a monkey off this bloke. It was the funniest thing ever seen. He kept on when they got down to the line, kept on moving, swooping the camera with the following the field through, and you couldn't see what was happening with a few runners that were finishing well back. We're betting on these filthy hooves. We've got to know everything that goes on. Well, anyway, I asked the secretary. Actually, said, "Oh, Gary, don't worry." He said, "They're on here in another couple of days on New Year's Eve." He said, "I'll have that sorted out." Well, of course, it wasn't sorted. I went and got a hold of a bloke. He said, "It's got nothing to do with me, mate." He says, "The course fella." I said, "Well," I went in, I found it, and anyway, the next thing you know, the person I found, he brought was actually a lady. She brought the fella down to me. He said, "Now, what's your problem, son?" I said, "Well, look," I said, when the horses go past the post, I said, "Can you please hold the camera on the post till the last horse goes past? I want to see what happens, whether they're sitting up on them or riding them out." He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I've been doing this for 30 years. He said, "And I'm telling you now," he said, I said, "Well, all right. Well, there's the replay channel up here. Come, we'll have a look at this replay in this next race." I said, "Now, there are 8 runners in the race. If you can find 8 when they go past the post, I'll give you a diamond bike, but I also want to bet you monkey on the time and tide." He said, "Oh, I'm about, don't be stood, you do your money." I said, "Well, come up here and have a look at this." And as sure as I was right, that's the first time I've been right in 100 years, there were only 6 horses went past the post. I said, "Where are the other 2, Mr. Magoo?" He went, "Oh, well, look, I'll have to go and check it out." And anyway, he did go and check it out, and he fixed it up for the rest of the day, which was a beauty. Now, on that first day, on the 29th of Gosford, as I say, it was an advantage to be near the lead and the fence. Then we went there 2 days later, New Year's Eve, with a big crowd at Gosford on that day. There was a bit of section there. It was a merry crowd. I only had about 32 pop blues after the last, which is average. And again, it was maybe not as savage as the first day. The rail was 3 metres out the second on New Year's Eve. Track was still good, and but by the same token, the fence was okay, but not as savage as it was on the 2 days prior. Then, after we all celebrated the New Year, we went to Randwick on New Year's Day, and gee whiz, there weren't too many patrons at Randwick. It used to be before the filthy TAB, the cancer of racing came into play. New Year's Day at Randwick, it was chock-a-block. That was also in the Ledger and in the Flat. Now, in the biggest pub in town, there weren't too many people, even pen and inking. So there we are, we rocked up. I did say to Barry on the gate, they are on, aren't they? He said, yeah, they're definitely on, Gaz. I said, oh, all right. He said that because it was a job, you couldn't see anybody in sight. The track was good on New Year's Day at Randwick. The rail was 6 metres out, and well, the track played off the fence. If you were close to the 18 pence in the well, before the turn and stayed on it in the straight, your task was extremely difficult. It was better to be sitting off the pace and off the fence to win. Although we did see, well, he got off the fence, but the last race came along, and the winner, God's in him, did have barrier 1. He had current bun, box 1, sat behind the leaders on the fence when they turned for home. He didn't go inside them. He eased off their heels, and by the time they topped the rise, he was a good 4 off the 3 off the fence, 4 off the fence, and got clear and was able to hold on from the favourite. It was the second pick, God's in him, who was back very well late in betting, and Good Project, who started the Avery. There were 15 runners who drew a barrier 15. They said, we're going to ride this back today, and they surely did. They went well back, and it made up a lot of ground to run second, beating 0.8 of a length. So that was, it was better to be off the fence at Randwick on New Year's Day, the 1st of January 2015. You Bobby Dazzler. Then we went to, we had to have a meeting before today at Rosehill. We had to have wine on, of course. The Sapphire Coast was on. The clubs have got to provide the TAB with so many races each year, so they can get all of the grumble and grunters to bet on them. Just this game. Isn't there any way we can get rid of this filthy TAB? Of course there's not. Their contract's up in another 85 years, and when it comes to them, they'll sign. The clubs won't have to sign. They'll own all the clubs. They'll be running the joint like they are now. Wyong yesterday. Going back to Gosford on when was it, the 29th, the first day. Fair dinkum, like the caller there, I think it was a bloke called Fleming. He should be calling the trots. You can't fire the bloke. The 1,000-metre race, it happens to be a big field. You write your own ticket about him getting through the field twice, and all he's interested in is the favourite. Doesn't matter what race it is, he calls. Now the favourite, it jumped well, and sometimes when the betting switches around very late, he doesn't even know which one's the favourite. Might be 2 to 1 and 11 to 4 another one. By the time he gets names up, and the 11 to 4 chance is turned into the favourite, and the 2 to 1 chance has got the second pick, and he calls the wrong way. He said, but he still thinks which one he thinks is the favourite. He more or less calls it all during the race, and it's going well. He can't fire the bloke, I don't think, in my opinion. When in a sprint race especially, he drives you absolutely mad. He doesn't go back after they jump. He doesn't. He just keeps on. He just jumps, calls them from the time they hit the ground. And if you're blindfolded and you're riding, if you listen to the races on the race on the radio, and you're writing his numbers down, you might have number 8 in front, and by the time they get to the turn, it might be second last. And then we had Mitch Manus, of course, yesterday. at Wyong. Listen to this. He's the best caller, this fella. He gets it so right. Makes it so much easier. Plus, when you're looking at the race and you're looking at it, you're looking at the race, it's just the picture's painted very clearly for you. Saves everybody time, and you know exactly where your runner is and so forth. A good, very good. I think he's the best caller, Mitch Manus. I think I've said that before. And that Wyong yesterday, the track was good. The rail was in the normal position. We had a bit of a breeze early, which was they were running into it down the when they were coming down the side into the straight, but then it eased right away towards the end of the day. But it was very obvious at Wyong that the inside section of the track was no good. It was better to be off the pace, or close to the pace, or off the pace. More pace you had, it was easier to swoop, but to be off the fence was the place to be. And if you got stuck on the fence, it was no good at all. The track shelved itself in race 2 when we saw More Than Frank sit 3 wide all the way, ridden by Tommy Terrific Berry, sit out 3 wide and get the biscuits. And then of course the very next race, the favourite, ridden by Samantha Clinton, had the outside alley, and I'd say a lot of people came into it for that reason. Well, you knew it was going to go, I suppose, forward, but not cross and go to the fence. And that's exactly what she did, and that was the end of it. As I say, best to stay off. It was best off the fence at Wyong yesterday. We came to the hill, to Rosehill today, and well, as I keep on saying, Rosehill, the only time Rosehill they get any people through the gate there, and when they have these girls' days out and that sort of thing, it is a fair dinkum ghost town. You've got no idea what it's like. You English viewers of my program, the races here, because of this TAB situation, it sucked everybody off the course. People become lazy and they don't go, and it's a terrible situation. The races here with punters, the punters that actually have a bet, you get quite in the grandstands there today, where the robot bookies are, there are punters in there, but in the main ring you just have the usual suspects every meeting. No one else rocks up. And our pros, well, our number one pro at the moment, who's half betting on course and half betting off course, he's away on holes. He's gone to Acapulco, and he's away. Gee whiz, I'm glad he wasn't there today, because not only we had 1 foot in the coffin and 1 foot out, if he were there today, he would have made sure we had 2 feet in the coffin, laid down as flat as a pancake, or as a biscuit, as they say, and fair dinkum put 1,000 nails in to make sure we couldn't get out. He would have annihilated us here today. Not that we weren't annihilated, as I said, and I'm going on a bit, this is longer than I wanted to talk. I want to suffer in silence. That's all I want to do tonight. This first race, we saw the Avery, trained by Gay. I owned the lead. She had 3 runners in the race. This little runner, Julietta, it sprung straight to the lead, ridden by Christian Reith, and showed them a merry dance and got away and won by 2.5 lengths. Second race, we saw this nice horse, Goal 77, who's 3 from 3. 3 from 3. Wait, I'll have another sip of this pooty on this grains that he sent down at Low Tooten. The section still hasn't arrived from Nigeria. Goal 77, so that's 3 wide. A horseman Bowman looking at the leaders after missing the kick slightly. 1 length and a quarter. It's a nice horse, this runner. We let you lay the 6 to 4 on, and it started the deuce on. It started 2 on, and Julie got the chocolates. The next race, The second pick, so that was the first two favourites won. The second pick beat the favourite the next race. There were three runners in this race. They all said they were going to be ridden closer, and they were Zinzan Eddie, who got trapped three wide in the run, and stuck on very well. His run was better than it looked. Shiraz, they said they were going to go forward, and they said they were going to go forward on Harrier Jet. And Harrier Jet crossed and led. Shiraz came and sat on the outside, and unfortunately for Zinzan Eddie, who drew the outside alley, 8 in a field of 8, got trapped three wide all the way. The two favourites fought it out down the straight, with the Shiraz being a little bit too strong on the line. The next race, well, this was the only roughie to win all day, Last Wish. But as I say, we put it up a $15 chance, 14 to 1. I saw $21, came back and started around about its opening price, about a $15 chance. And it would have been something beat if it was me, because when it went for a split, after sitting back third last on the fence, only with about a furlong and a bit to go, it was held up badly, but when the gap finally came, it burst through and won by 2 lengths. The favourite in this race, It's a Silver Tail, the import, who's had now 2 starts. It ran third. He didn't get shuffled back, but when a runner took off 60 to 70 to 1 chance, who was actually backed Platinum Jack, took off. He got back a bit in the field and then got to the outside, made ground, but it wouldn't have mattered what happened. He wouldn't have won the race. Race 5, well, this was won by the Avery Craftiness, went straight to the lead, ridden by Bold Blake Shin. He had complete control, and when he pressed the button again after using a little bit of petrol early on, there was another gear there, and it went away and won by 2.5 lengths from the second pick, who sucked up on the fence, having every chance. The winner apparently now is going for a spell. Still a very learning how to race, even though it's slightly raced. Still, it did race more tractably today than it did its last 2 runs, but it has potential. Race 6, here we saw Bold Blake Shin again go straight to the front, like everybody in the world thought it would do from barrier 1, lead, and it's exactly what happened. He controlled the race, and the second pick in the race, it was, we let you lay the 6 to 4 on this runner as well, but it started the 9 to 4 on chance. We put it up 2 on, we'll have you 2 for 1, then we let you lay the 6 to 4 on $1.60, or 13 to 1, or 6 to 4 on, and then it was hard to get the 9 to 4 on, $1.45 at the finish. A lot of boards $1.40, the 5 to 2 on, but you could still lay $1.45 on. Hard to get. Controlled the race, and the second pick, who sat fourth on the fence, it railed through. Only got beat 1.8 lengths, but it was 4.8 back to the third horse. The favourite was safely holding the second horse on the line, if not doing possibly better. Race 7, here we saw the favourite, Marty, sit second. Didn't lead Marty, trained by I Own the Lead Gay. The very well backed Miss 10 Pins, who drew barrier 12 in a field of 13, and was very well backed from $12 into about $8 at one stage, back out to the 15 to 2, $8.50 towards the end of betting. It crossed and led. He said to himself, Tommy Terrific riding the winner and favourite Marty, well, yes, that suits me. I'll just look at you. And that's exactly what he did. He looked at him to the turn, and Miss 10 Pins held on very well. It took him from the furlong pole, when he ranged up on the outside of Miss 10 Pins, all the way to the winning post to get past it and only beat it by a neck. But they got right away from the others. The third horse was 3.3 lengths away, sitting in 5th position or 6th position on the fence. The 100 to 1 chance, Spanish Shoes, railing into 3rd position, but beaten a long way, 3.3 lengths. The winner stretched its neck out and looks like she is she's very genuine, and only lightly raced too. And then we saw the last race. Well, that was another favourite, and then a favourite. So we've had this. Now we're coming into the last, and we've had 7 races, 15 to 1 chance, 14 to 1 chance after $21 was given, and the second pick beating the Avery. Bookies are in a coma. and took risks with the favourite in this race, Centre Pivot, ridden by James McDonald. Um, and he got into the beautiful position like it did last start, just behind the pace from barrier 2, sucked up. It went across and finally led the top weight here, Choice Pro, and after leading early, or half trying to lead early, Sense of Occasion, who was very well back from $12 into $8, finally let Choice Pro go to the lead, and but then got to its outside, and when they turned for home, after sitting on the out in fourth position in a knot, it finished up breaking down with about 50 metres to go very badly, and I think it was put down. It was more or less dropping off, and the favourite was just able to get around their heels. And when he flattened out, he did really flatten out, because he went away and won by 4.3 lengths. We put it up to 2-1 favourite. 2-1 the field you can have. Got out to $3.30, $3.20. They took the $3.30. They took the $3.20, the $3.10, the $3. Muggins here. I joined in at the $2.90, and I never stopped writing its name at $2.90, and I think it started that price on my board, and I paid the penalty like the steam tug I am, and it absolutely trotted in. Second horse here ran along the fence, had its chance, Saintly Lad, but it never had the wet track today to help it. And the leader, Choice Pro, held on for third, and it came from back in the field. Golden Arrow, trained by Gay, but it's a back marker. She can't teach it to go forward, this horse. It must be slow, because it would have been, she would have tried to teach it to come out of the barriers, but I think she most probably throw it through her hands up in the air, and it just hasn't got that early pace, and it finished up running fourth, coming from back in the field. But the winner absolutely trotted in, and if you did get the $3.30 about it at the track, and when you collected off the bookies, I hope you put a balaclava on, because it was absolutely stealing money, or sex, as I call it, section. It was stealing section off the captains. It was grand larceny. So that was the meeting today, and those few other meetings. And as I say, I want a fair income. Go away and suffer in silence. Good evening.